Today's conversation is an incredible one. Yes, we're focusing on women 40 years of age and older, but I can tell you from experience that the things that we're talking about today affect women that are under 40 as well. Today's interview is with Hilary Rank, and she specializes in healthy transformations for women over 40 years of age who are dealing with stubborn weight loss, hormonal situations, and just wanting to live their best life ever at 40 and above. I can't tell you how incredibly personal this conversation is and how much you will learn and maybe even question, maybe I don't feel my best. And there are ways that you could deal with it. You don't have to live with it. So thank you for joining us today. And let's dive in to this incredible conversation with Hilary Rank.
Welcome to Ladies Kickin Ass. I'm your host, Tanya Wilson, and I'm crazy passionate about encouraging women to tell their hard-earned stories, provide coaching and creative ideas to help you build the service business of your dreams. What's different about this podcast? Well, we are real, and that means most of us are trying to juggle all the things. Being an entrepreneur, mama, wife, sister, friend, doggy mama, and all those other titles that we love. This life is a dance, and we celebrate every twist, step, and dip along the way. This show chats about our wins, our losses, business, relationships, family, and how to get the hell out of our own way and believe in ourselves and our big ideas. The Ladies Kickin Ass Community is full of strong, generous women who support, mentor, and cheer for each other. So, come on, let's get inspired and learn something new today. Welcome to the Ladies Kickin Ass podcast. Good morning, ladies. Welcome back for another awesome episode of Ladies Kickin Ass. I am here today with Hilary Rank, and she is an incredible health coach for women who are over 40 years of age that are looking to get their juju back, lose some fat, gain some energy, go out, kick some more ass, do all that good stuff. And I love her approach around training and maybe thinking different thoughts about food and activity level and our ever-loving hormone presence that tends to happen around this time. So thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So I am incredibly excited about this conversation because I want to pick your brain too, because I have problems with this myself. I have had someone else on the podcast before that has also talked about this, and it was one of the top podcasts that people listen to. So I know there is a lot of interest in this, and people have a lot of questions, and a lot of times, I know in your story, and I'll let you tell this, about how everybody said that you were fine. And you know in your heart that you're not fine. So why don't you tell us how you got involved in this and what inspired you to start Healthy by Hilary?
That's a good question, because I never imagined it. If you would have asked me 10 years ago, I would have thought you were crazy. So I worked in the corporate world for 20 years. And for the last 15 of those, I worked I worked my way up to a corporate leadership position. So I managed at one time 3 teams, had about 40 employees. And I was doing this with younger children at home, 2 boys I have, and, trying to do all the things. And I think that's what so many women are trying to do, who have a career, is you're trying to move up the corporate ladder or grow your business. You're raising your kids. You're trying to be, I made a post about this because you inspired me from one of your podcasts, be Pinterest perfect.
Yep.
Maintain a social life, maintain a beautiful house, and you're just exhausted and you feel like you're barely hanging by a thread. So kind of my story is after my youngest son was 2, I had decided I was going to, get back into shape because I was just tired of complaining about not feeling myself, not feeling happy with my body, always picking black, not wanting to do pictures. So I actually started working with a strength coach, and he helped women with fitness competitions. And that wasn't really on my radar, but when you're around that, you start seeing other women doing it. And then I am a very type A perfectionist person, and I do have tendencies to go overboard with things. So I saw this, I'm like, I'm going to do this too. So I'm training for these competitions, and I have all these other responsibilities as I just went over, and all was fine for a while, got in the best shape of my life, lost like 4 sizes. And, the surprising thing is I wasn't very happy. And like, I thought that I would be so happy, like if I lost all the weight, but I still felt the same inside, insecure, always doubting myself, always feel like I'm missing something. And then after the second competition, my health went all to crap. My hair started falling out. I was so exhausted. I could, I had felt so inflamed and heavy all the time. And, working in a leadership position, you have to be on, you have to be sharp. I had such horrible brain fog. It was just really hard to concentrate. I was barely getting through the day. And, extra working out, the workouts that would energize me, I could barely get through, but I pushed through because I was that type A person. Yeah. Come hell or high water, I'm going to do this. But I think the worst part was the irritability and the discovery that I was not showing up for my husband and my kids. I don't know if you swear on this podcast. Oh yeah. I was such a bitch at home. I could barely stand myself. So, I knew something had to change. And that's when I started trying to go to different practitioners and get answers. And as you said, I would get some blood tests, even from my kind of holistic OB. And she said everything was fine, set me on my way. And I knew things weren't fine. So this went on for about a year and a half, till I finally went out of range in my lab results with hypothyroidism. And that really was just the tip of the iceberg of all sorts of hormonal imbalances. And, traditional doctors and the medical field doesn't really give you the education that you need as a woman who is aging over 35 about what's going on in your body, what impact stress has on your body, and what stress actually is. Because, a lot of women might think that they're doing fine. I don't have a lot of mental, emotional stress, but there's also physical stress. And that includes extreme dieting and extreme exercise, which was really what I was involved in. Sure. So, and there's not great treatments. You can do hormones and they can help. I'm an advocate for that, but a pill alone isn't going to fix what's going on. No. This waterfall of effects from that are creating the hormonal imbalances. So for me, I don't accept that there's nothing I can do. And I did a lot of research on my own, and that's where I kind of understood about what was going on. But I think the biggest epiphany, well, let me back up. At the same time, I felt so trapped in my corporate job. It wasn't really feeding my soul, but it was an amazing career. It was amazing salary that provided a great standard of living for my family, kind of everything that I had always thought that I should do. Right. But it was sucking my soul. And as I said, and I think we had this discussion a little bit, women kind of are like, how do I have time to do these things for myself in addition to this? And that's exactly where I felt trapped. But I just always kept asking myself, there has to be a way. There has to be some other way to look at this. And it's very hard to look at something a different way when you're in it. Yeah. But my biggest epiphany is I read this book called The Mind-Body Connection by Dr. John Sarno. And it's really about back pain, but he talks about the mental, emotional aspect of pain and physical ailments. And I realized at that point that, my hormonal imbalances, I also have an autoimmune condition. It was absolutely triggered about the way by the way I thought. And that's what women think. A lot of women don't understand what stress is, but it really is created by the way you think. It's your reactions to these events. Because events are neutral in of itself, but it's our perceptions of it that causes the stress, and it has an actual physical reaction in our body, and it can manifest in different ways. So that was a huge epiphany to me. And I realized that life is too short to be doing something that is making me miserable. What am I doing this for? So that was when I decided to take this scary step of figuring out how I was going to turn my career into something else. And I hired a career coach. I at first was thinking like an employee, like I'm going to work for a wellness company, because I knew I wanted to do health and wellness.
Sure.
But halfway through, I'm like, I don't want to work for anyone else. Like, I want to create something for women like me who are clueless about what's going on.
Yeah.
And we're kind of left behind. So I had this dream, I'm going to do this. And it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how this all started. And that was about 5 years ago.
Well, that takes a lot of bravery, because to leave and be able to jump and go somewhere else, you truly have to, I think, in order to be successful with that, you truly have to have like a burn the boats mentality. I don't know if you've heard that before.
I understand what you're saying.
Yes. Tony Robbins says that all the time in his training. Like, if you're going to go and you're going to do this, you have to, like, everybody has a freaking plan B for everything. If you are making plan B while you are trying to figure out plan A, you might as well just stay where you're at, because you've got a fallback. When you don't have the fallback, and it's more important for you to feel healthy and feel alive and be able to give the best to your family, there is no alternative to that. Yes. Stay where you're at, you know?
I will tell you, it has not been easy. I mean, my husband, when I told him I'm going to do this, he's not a risk taker.
Yeah.
So he's like, what? You're not going to get a job? And like my dad, who's been an entrepreneur my whole life, he said the same thing. And there are many times I almost quit.
Isn't there for all of us?
I am full transparency, but I'm still doing it.
It's amazing being able to transform your thinking around that too, because it truly is, for a lot of people, they think, oh, well, I work for someone, so I have guaranteed paycheck. I have the safety net. I have the safety. My husband and I had that same issue too for a long time. I'm like, start your own thing, or, like, come on board or do things. And he's like, but I have this, it's just a safety net, having this guaranteed paycheck. I'm like, you're guaranteed until someone decides that they're going to cut a budget or move stuff around. And then where's the guarantee? It's so false hope.
Just being at the mercy of, I know this is targeted towards women, but there was a lot of men and their decisions. And I was like, F that,
There is no more job security than knowing that it's all on you. And I think with your kind of personality, I'm very like that too. Like, losing is not an option. I will find a way.
Well, right. But I will tell you, when I started my business, I was coming at it with that same go, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle mentality. And it didn't help my health at all, which was the whole reason why I was kind of, the reason it wasn't fulfilling my passion, wasn't lighting me up.
Sure.
But it took me learning, and healing during this to kind of switch that mentality.
Yeah.
Because so many women, especially who are driven, successful women, have that go, go, go. I need to hustle, work till my fingers bleed. But I am telling you, if you try to keep that up, you are going to face burnout and a plethora, like a jumble of hormonal issues that are probably going to make the decision for you that you cannot keep that up.
Yeah. And I think if you are a woman of 40 or older, I just turned 40 this year, your body changes and it starts giving you clues like you need to slow the hell down. I know I felt that this last year. I have a horrible problem of like, all right, got that one rolling. Let's start something new, because I too was like, I was brought up that way. I was always taught to work so hard. that you feel like you're worthless if you're not working on something. But that is something a business coach of mine just said too. I want you to schedule time to do nothing.
Yes.
And I'm like, it literally gave me like a pit in my stomach when she said that. Like, I can't do nothing. Like,
right.
What does that look? I don't know what nothing looks like. But I think so many of us get into that.
Yeah.
And it's so that no wonder we're so damn stressed out all the time.
One of my business coaches calls it luxuriating. She's always luxuriating.
I'm going to write that down. I'm going to put that in my schedule.
Because what are you doing it for if you can't take that time? That's, as an entrepreneur, we can make that into our schedule.
Well, I think that's one of the fallacies too, is that we get so caught up in the work that we forget the reason why we did this to start with.
Yes.
For me, and I think it sounds like from you too, from our conversations, that you started this because you wanted to be able to be not only more fulfilled personally with what you're doing, but be able to be more available to your family.
Oh, and it was not the case when I first started. That first year, like I felt like I was on a treadmill that was going slightly too fast the whole time. So it has taken practice, and it's taken lots of lessons to learn how to slow down, slowing down to speed up, which I always thought was such a stupid, trite thing to say, but it really is the truth. I mean,
that's a good one.
The growth is in the rest.
Yeah.
Because when you're coming at business from always such a stress, your body's in this hyper vigilant state. And what it really is your cortisol is high all the time. And that's your stress hormone. It smashes your creativity. It makes you anxious and makes you easy to overwhelm. So it's really preventing you from going to further heights of your business because you can't see the possibilities.
Sure. I like what you had to say too about just having like the brain fog with that stuff all the time.
Yes.
It's like we have so many things firing off all the time. Like when you sit down at a computer and you're like have 50 tabs open and your brain just resembles that all the time. Like,
yes.
I'm making an order on Amazon and then I'm looking up a VRBO for the weekend and then I've just checked out the latest podcast, but I didn't finish that book I was listening to. And at the end of it, you're like, what the hell did I just do this last hour?
Exactly.
Nothing.
Or you walk into a room and forget why you walked into the room.
All the time.
Yeah.
I thought that was just an aging thing.
Well, it's related to your hormones.
Well, those definitely have issues in themselves. So one of the things that I love to be able to do on this podcast is to share tactics that you have employed at your business that you think would help others kind of get through the rough patch a little bit faster. So we've been talking about starting the business, and that whole first year you felt like you were going a little too fast on a treadmill. What is something that you're 5 years down the road now that you would love to be able to tell that beginner or 1 to 2 years in that would make things just go faster, smoother?
70% done is done. I call myself a recovering perfectionist, but the wanting everything to be perfect and spending an hour on a freaking graphic for social media, that's nonsense. And it's a big fat waste of time. So even though if I didn't feel like it was perfect, putting it out there anyway, because procrastination is really just like perfectionism is a way to procrastinate.
For sure.
So that, and then trying to do all the things, if I were giving myself advice, I needed to focus more on the lead generation as opposed to things that really didn't matter, like having the perfect logo or having a website or, things like that.
Yeah. People get hung up in a lot of that. And I hear that a lot from ladies in our community. That's like, we were talking before we hit record on this, that they talk about like, I don't know how to have time for me and I don't know how to do social media.
Yeah.
And I find that fascinating that those are the two biggest problems that people have, like What are you working on? What are you worried about, stressed about right now? It's like those two things. It's like, I know I should be doing this and I know I should be doing this. I don't know how to do either one of them. But they're so far-fetched from what the other one is. But we spend so much time because others see it and we feel like they're judging this logo, how your website looks, what social media is. It's like you forget to put the most important thing in front of that, and that is yourself.
I think for women to accept that and to actually do that, they have to believe at their core that putting themselves first is going to help their family and their business. I don't think women who are not doing it aren't buying it. You know what I'm saying? Yep. They think that they just have to go, and that's what's going to do it. But it's actually embodying the attributes of yourself as a millionaire or whoever you want to be. Like, what would she be doing? Is she really going to be like working 12, 15-hour days, not seeing her kids and feeling like worn out and exhausted? Or is she going to feel peaceful, successful, and actually appreciating where she's come?
Sure.
So it's not the doing, it's the being, if that makes sense. But you have to like believe that working on yourself is going to help you get there.
Yes. And it's one of those things that you have to get into the mindset of, this is not I got to put it somewhere on my to-do list. This is before my to-do list.
It is the work. I mean, that is the work, really. So I always say the women who are most successful in my program is who they create their life around the transformation as opposed to fitting the transformation in their life. And I think it's the same with growing you have to have that you time in there. That is the non-negotiable.
Sure. Well, it's like we say so much in business, if you're working in your business, you're not working on your business. If you're working in your life and not on your life, you're just going with the flow all day long. Someone else is in charge of you.
Right. Exactly.
All the time. And that is frightening. That's what we got away from when we started these businesses to begin with, right? Exactly. And now we're doing it to ourselves. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the programs that you offer through your business in ways that you help women.
Okay. So when I first started my business, what I do now looks very different because I just kind of modeled it after my experiences with online coaching, which was, getting macros and a meal plan and a workout plan. And I had that inner drive and commitment. I would just do it, and I saw results. Well, I tried it that way and my clients weren't getting the results that I had hoped for them. And that what they came to me for. And that I saw as a really big problem, obviously.
Sure.
And what I realized is you can't just like throw a meal plan and an exercise plan at someone who feels overwhelmed and expect them to be able to comply to all of it. What the really crucial part is the mental emotional part of fat loss and to hormone imbalance and to what's going on in your business. So from there, my Revive method was born. It took, some time to dial it in. And that's really the basis of all my programs. So I have my one-to-one coaching, which is high touch, customized, exclusive one-to-one program. And then I am going to talk about and offer a special offer to your listeners for my group coaching program. It's still based on this Revive method, but we're doing it as a group and the nutrition and fitness isn't as customized. So, and then I also have, just a 14-day fat loss jumpstart. But really the basis of it is that we're helping simplify hormones, food, and behaviors. And that is going to go into how you lose fat and gain energy and feel good.
Sure.
So that's it in a nutshell. And in my one-to-one and group, we're focusing specifically on food for hormones. I'm helping women understand what's going on hormonally. I do in my one-to-one program offer working with a doctor, a naturopathic doctor who does the hormonal testing, and there's visits included in the program.
Mm-hmm.
In my group, I'm going to help guide them to go get testing with their doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to tailor everything in the program to their specific hormonal profile. Because, there's common hormonal imbalances for sure, but everyone's slightly different. And the only program that's going to work long-term for you is the one that is specifically for you, tailored for you.
Yes. I have visited a doctor and talked about stuff like that too. I have some hormonal imbalances with stuff. I find it very interesting that when people are willing to talk about this stuff, you realize how not strange and awkward and weird you are, because it is amazing how many people have this problem. And it like
laughing.
Forever.
I had a client this morning. She's like, I am coming to you. Sorry, it's TMI, but she was talking about her poop. And I'm like, it's fine.
Yes. That's
we got to talk about it.
Yeah. That's a big part.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fascinating because she has very much, I have the hypothyroidism issue too. We're working on that. Same thing with the hormones. We have hormone replacement. We're working on that. And you get that great information. And I love her so much for what she's been able to help me with. But I realize too that there's another level to this.
Yes.
Because I feel better than I did before, but I don't feel as good as I know I can be.
And that
it's
goes
not
into
a pill.
Right. A pill cannot fix it.
No.
I actually had problems. I was having weird reactions to bioidentical hormones. Well, I finally gotten that fixed, but there's so many other aspects. There is the food. That's a huge part. There's the movement, the right type and right amount of exercise. And then there's the behaviors. Well, I include exercise and food in there, but it's the way we think. And as I've said, it's the theme. It's our reactions to life that really is the root cause of why things are going sideways.
Sure. That's amazing help for people that struggle from these things, because I know for myself, and from speaking with women in my community, that's definitely something too. Like they have these hormone imbalances or the thyroid situation, and they're stressed to high hell all day long. Every time I get my blood drawn, my cortisol is ridiculously off the charts.
Yes.
I realize that. My husband thinks he's going to solve it with his ashwagandha something things. And I'm like,
well, it can help.
I love you for thinking this, but I have to fix my problem too.
Right. Well, listen, I wanted to kind of be specific. Sometimes women don't realize that their hormones are what is affecting it. So I kind of want to go through the biggest symptoms that can maybe give them a clue that it is their hormones.
Yes.
And it's like the chicken or the egg. It's not just your hormones. It's all the other things combined, but stubborn weight gain. So they gained a lot of weight, probably rapidly, and then they can't lose it. The things that worked in the past aren't working now. Problem sleeping. So exhausted throughout the day, but then when you lay down to go to bed, you're wired and tired and you can't go to bed. And maybe you finally fall asleep and then you wake up really early. The exhausted all the time. And it's not being lazy. It's like your body is stressed to the max. Yeah. Irritability, anxiety, and easy to overwhelm. So a lot of women think that maybe anxiousness is just because of aging. And it's not only that, it's because you have a lot of things on your plate. Sure. But anxiety is a symptom of hormonal imbalance. Heavy periods, short periods, like short distance between them or long distance between them. Let me think of some low sex drive. And a lot of women don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
So
what about hair loss?
Well, that was one of my hair loss. That can be a symptom of low progesterone, which is one of the first hormones to start depleting when we're stressed and as we're getting closer to menopause. And that also is a symptom of low thyroid, which if you have cortisol dysfunction, which you're saying, you said that, you always get tested and it's through the roof. Your adrenals are very closely tied to your thyroid. So if you're having adrenal dysfunction, you're likely having some kind of slow thyroid, vice versa. And that is causing the hair loss. Dry skin, brittle nails, losing the outside third of your eyebrows.
Interesting.
Feeling cold all the time, the brain fog, and that's also a symptom of the cortisol dysfunction.
Huh.
Yeah.
There's so much, but your programs can help people navigate through all of this.
I was going to say, if I get this a lot, do I help women who are under 40? And yes, I do. If they're experiencing hormone issues, like if they're a 20 something who just want to lose weight, I'm not the coach for them.
Sure.
I am for women who are looking for a sustainable lifestyle that can help them feel great now and as they age. And then I ask, so I'm not 40, I'm past 40. I've had so many clients who are in their 50s and beyond. So yes, I do help women over their 40s.
Excellent. Good thing to say. Sometimes people hear that number and it just sticks. Like,
yes,
I'm
like,
40.
No, what do I do?
Yeah. Or I'm 40. I'm not over 40. So does that apply to me? Yes. Yes, it does. So with the business that you have now, how do you feel like you have been able to become a better you? What has your business brought to you for you to become a better you? You said before when you were at corporate, you were kind of like, I wasn't super fulfilled in what I was doing with stuff. I was overwhelmed doing all the things. Are you still doing all the things and the business?
No. I mean, I could.
That was a stern no.
Yeah, because I mean, there really was a breaking point, and actually, my husband was like really pissed, because I got out of corporate to like have a better lifestyle, and I was working like constantly, like 7 days a week, like 12-hour days.
Yeah.
So, how do I think I've been better? Well, I've definitely developed a lot more confidence. Like I was terrified to go live on camera. I wouldn't have ever dreamed in corporate of just, not having to ask permission for things. Okay. No, that's not true. When I was a leader, I definitely didn't ask permission all the time, but I realized that there's only me to lean on. So I have a CEO mindset. And before I had an employee mindset, I will have to say there was a turning point. It was right before COVID. That was at a point where I was about to quit. And I actually even got like a sales job for a little bit, but then I was like applying for jobs and then COVID hit. And I swear that was like serendipitous because it really was a turning point for me. And I remember, my sons, like they just like, they inspire me. And I was saying, it hasn't been working. And he's like, Mom, he's like, you would just tell me, if it didn't work one way, you just have to try it another way. And oh my gosh, that was just like the hugest thing. And so I just switched, like I got really serious and switched tactics and things just turned around. So at that point is when I started really building my business the way I wanted to, and not like I might do a little bit of work on the weekends, but like my family time is my family time. And I feel like I'm a better person because I've been able to be there for my sons. And that, COVID really did that, because we were all at home.
Sure.
But now I just feel so blessed that I am there for them. I can take them to that sports practice. I can take them to this and that. I have that flexibility. And before I would have been, one of my lowest points was when I first started. And I was, as I said, I was just like in a panic. I was like trying to learn everything at the same time, trying to do all the things. I still feel guilty about this, but I missed my youngest son's performance because I was just oblivious to it. Like I could have been there, but I didn't realize that he had this musical performance and I missed it. And I feel so emotional feeling about that. So now, like, I am there. Like,
yeah,
I can take my son to baseball tournaments during the day.
Sure.
So sorry, what's going on about
is
that?
The best. No, that is the best because I think we find ourselves in a position where I'm going to do this because I'm going to create a life where I can be there for my kids.
And if you don't get your priorities straight,
Mhm.
your kids become even more of a on the back burner because
Yeah.
you got to take care of this. And it's truly a mind shift for me too. Has been very much, I would always put like my husband and my kids, they'll be there when I get home. I have to pay attention to this
Right.
first. I got to do this meeting. I got to get this prepared for tomorrow for this person.
Mhm.
And then they'll get me when I get home. These people, when I get home, are never getting the best version of me.
Exactly.
So it's truly shifting all of that stuff around and
Mhm.
trying to figure out how can I be where I want to be and be the person that I want to be? How do I get to that place?
But I don't think we can ever get to that place unless we learn how to deal with stress, and we are not in that hyper stress state all the time.
Yeah.
Because then you're not going to be present, even when you're there.
That is a very good point too. And that's truly a transitional. I think last year for me, I just had this total epiphany thing of like, stop hiring people to help with your family.
Yeah, I know you
and
told
your
me that.
kids,
That's awesome.
And start hiring people to help with your business.
Yes, so you can.
And I think it was truly like I had an assistant that was with me for a long time, and she just quit.
Oh, no,
sent me an email
stinks.
and just quit. And I very much was like, oh, this person, was my person that was here at work. Now I have to take all of this back on. I have to do this, which was so stupid that I'd put myself in that position anyways, because I should have had a backup to be able to help.
But,
and you don't,
right?
Yeah. It's a good learning. Right? Yes. Cross-training. So it was a very good learning experience for me too. Out of that though, like I know where I want to be in my heart is that I want to pick my kids up from school. I want to be the one that is taking them to do things. That is the whole reason why I started these businesses, is so that I could be with my children and I could have my children with me. So that has been my big goal this year, is to work myself out of a job here, because if you're consistently doing all the things, you can't work on the things that are so important to you. And I think with that flip of stuff, recognizing what is the greatest point of stress in your life. If it is the things that are happening in your business, who can you bring in, or how can you farm that out to someone that can help lower those things for you?
Right.
Because it is exhausting, and you need to be, if you're constantly living in the place that causes you all the stress, when the hell do you expect it to go away?
I remember, I signed up for this coaching program. It was one of the best coaching programs I've been in. It's called Business by Design. And he was all about working smarter, not harder, and outsourcing things. And I didn't think I could afford to hire an assistant, but he totally taught you can hire an assistant. There's even a site that you can hire assistants from the Philippines, and it's not as expensive as an American VA. And they'll just do it like, a la carte or, freelance, or you can even go on Upwork and get a freelancer and just get like 10 hours here and there. And it changed everything.
Yes.
To be able to get help with the graphics and just the $10 an hour jobs instead of and so I could do the CEO jobs.
Yes. The frustration of, I was laughing in my head when you were talking about how you'd spend an hour on a damn graphic.
Oh, God.
I used to do social media for all of my businesses, and I would spend so much time, because I'm just like that, like, this has to look perfect.
Yes.
And you're like, now that you know more about it, you're like, shit, like 3 people probably saw this thing anyways, and I spent all this time on it. But like hiring that out, I hired someone that she actually comes to my office and works here one day a week. She has her own business. She was starting her own business. Her name's Kayla. She's fantastic. And she comes in here and works with me and does all the social media stuff now. That seems like such a small thing to like let go of. And I was like considering, when I met her, I was advertising to bring a marketing person in to hire someone, because I knew I needed help. That was such a stressful thing for me that I had to spend so much time on. And learning what it was, like I can hire her to do all those things, and she's available and helpful for a quarter of what it would have cost me to hire an employee.
Right.
And everything is still getting done that needs to be done.
So it just goes back to the whole dilemma that I was sitting in my office thinking there has to be a different way. There has to be a different way. And I think we get so stuck in our loop of behaviors and ways of thinking, especially if we're stressed. We can't see the forest for the trees. There is many other ways, you know, but we got to solve that problem.
And you're not always going to be the best at what you think you're the best at in your business. And you don't realize that until you hire someone.
Right.
Then you're like, damn, they do that better than I do. It's that first hire bug. Yeah. Once you get through that, then you're good. But we hear so much in the service industry too. We have so many, like in my septic business that we refer work out to, like maybe it's out of our service area or we're too busy to get to them in their time frame. And we'll refer work out to them. They're like, oh yeah, I tried to call them. They never answer their phone because there's so many owner operators out there that are trying to answer the phone and do the thing and do all this. And then we would tell them like, dude, Jay, you need to hire somebody. And he's like, I can't afford to do that. And I'm like,
have those services that like will answer.
Yeah.
Like
one job. Seriously, one extra job a day is going to more than pay for that person's salary this week.
Sorry, could you say that again?
So, and our watch is talking to us too. See, that was a message. It's a subliminal message. Say that again for people that didn't hear that. You need to hire people to help you. So this has been such a fun conversation. Thank you so much. I think this is super helpful for many women, even if it makes you just stop and say, holy shit, I need to fix some things. And kudos to you. I don't know anyone personally that doesn't have someone that or something in their life that they could stop and say that to. But to just stop and do an evaluation. Something I learned from a wonderful business mentor is that every month at the end of the month, either like the 30th, 31st, whatever it ends up, takes the whole day just to reflect on what was good that happened that month, what wasn't good that happened that month, and what got completed, what needs to move forward, and what is the plan for this next month. But just checking in with yourself and being able to do that. Yeah. I know so much that a lot of us that struggle with these issues, especially the sleeping thing, I've always had a problem with that. Just sitting at nighttime and closing your day off is something I was talking to my business coach about this morning. Is we get up in the morning and we make these to-do lists and we look at our calendar and we have all of these things to do, but we don't ever close it. Yeah. And she was talking about the importance of like literally having a notebook that you write in and physically close that book at nighttime. Because even that little physical gesture can signal to your brain, right, we're done with today.
Because if you're anything like me, what's keeping you up is all the things that you need to do, or you wake up and like, oh, I didn't do this, you know?
Yeah. And a lot of it is like residual of like, or do you wake up and you're like, did I do that?
Yeah.
And exactly. It's because you didn't sit down and close the day out. I think that would be an incredible challenge for everyone that's listening to this to try to do something like that. You know, we get up and we spend so much time planning, but do we ever close down what it was that we planned for? Yeah. It's like this sick cycle of this hamster wheel effect of I'm constantly going and I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. Yeah. But when you close the day out, celebrate the stuff that you did get done. Don't look at the 2 things that you didn't get done. Right. Look at the 12 you did.
Yeah. And then it's like letting go. And that's like a huge thing that that has really changed from my mentality when I first started and now, because you can't do everything. Like you have to let go of some things. If you didn't get your to-do list done, maybe the deadline was arbitrary and you can wait on that. Maybe it's not going to happen as quick as what you wanted. But that's the whole thing about expectations. You know, we have expectations and that a lot of times gives stress when we don't feel like things are meeting those expectations.
Sure. One of the things, my husband keeps repeating this to me. We learned this in a business class that we went to too, that they said, whenever you feel yourself getting to they should have an expectation, flip it around to a view of appreciation. So whatever that whole thing is, and I catch myself now because he says it so much to me, that it really truly is a beautiful mind shift of like, wow, you know, it's a good thing that I have this to deal with right now. Even when, you know, sometimes when at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I had so much stuff to do, or, oh, I didn't get all of this stuff done. Sitting down and appreciating the things that you did get done just puts you in such a more peaceful state to be able to invite that sleep to come instead of pushing it away. So talk to us about what your offer is going to be again.
Okay, so I'm giving a special offer to your listeners. It's for my 40 Feels Fabulous group coaching program. And the basis is what I explained, is my Revive method. So we're going to focus on simplifying, losing fat and gaining energy by simplifying hormones, food, and behaviors. So in the program, it's an all-in-one program. It's not going to give you part of the thing. It's going to give you all the prongs for you to lose fat and gain energy and to feel like yourself again. And we're focusing on simplifying, like giving you simple food that is sustainable, not starving yourself, movement that is going to support your hormones and help you lose inches, but not hours of cardio. Mm-hmm. And then learning how to change the way you think to not only help get to higher levels in your business, to feel more present with your family, to reduce those feelings of stress. So in turn, you can help balance your hormones more. You can lose the inches, because a lot of what holds women back is like mental, emotional weight as well.
Sure.
So we're going to be working on releasing that. So it's 8 weeks. There's 8 coaching calls where the focus of the coaching call is going to be on that mental aspect. Mm-hmm. And then during the week you have access. Well, you have indefinite lifetime access to my program that has all those other facets in there. And then we have an exclusive Facebook group where you can ask questions, where, I'm going to be giving, additional tips for them. So you can't fail. You literally cannot fail as long as you show up.
Yeah.
So
show up for yourself.
Exactly.
And then it's just a trickle down effect for everything else.
Yes. So I'm offering 15% off. So a back to school special on that. And the way they can access that, I think you're going to give a link to it, and then, they can get some more information there, and then they can book a call to talk more about it.
Awesome. I'm going to put the link in the show notes for this, and then I will plaster it on all of our stuff.
And if they feel like a one-to-one container would be better for them, because some women just really do better that way, I have a few slots open for that too. So that's an option as well we can discuss. Awesome. And I will extend that 15% off back to school special for my one-to-one program as well.
That is amazing. Do you have a lot of group interaction with your programs from everybody that's involved in the program?
What do you mean? Like when we do
like, do you do it through your Facebook group, like that they get to meet other people that are in that community?
Yes.
Awesome. Because I know sometimes that can be a big kicker for people too, is to have their coach and an accountability buddy.
Yes. And then, after my programs, I offer kind of like an alumni offer, and then that's a group too. So the ladies can meet each other through that.
Awesome. That's excellent. Well, fantastic. Thank you so much, Hilary. I think you have helped a lot. I think you could help with a lot of my problems there. You may have just got yourself a customer here too.
Nice.
So one of the final questions that I always ask everyone, because it's so important to me, that is the reason why I started Ladies Kickin Ass, is because I couldn't find the community that I wanted to see and be a part of. So I always ask everyone, what does community mean to you?
It means a group of people who lift each other up. Maybe they have common goals because they are part of the community, and they support each other. I really feel like we really can't get along as humans without a community. We have to have other people that we can relate to. Mm-hmm. I mean, if anything that COVID has showed us anything, it's like when you're like shut in your house and you're not interacting with others. I mean, there was some interaction, you know, people were doing it virtually, but it's that I really think the face-to-face interaction is crucial. That's why we're talking face-to-face right now.
Yes. And I love it.
And that's what I'm really striving to do, because it's so easy as a digital entrepreneur. I mean, I have some in-person clients, but you can just so easily become so introverted and such a shut-in. And that's really what I've been trying to do, is go to more events and meet more women who have the same mindset.
Sure. And it's like with the digital age of things too, and with COVID, it's like some people are having a really hard time resorting back to this in person, you know, making an actual connection of stuff. We could have met over, you know, Zoom or something like that and had a great conversation still, but there is magic in connection with people in a physical form that I think is so amazing. So I love that means a lot to you too. Yes. I think it's fantastic. So thank you so very much. Again, we will put everything that Hilary was talking about with her programs in the show notes, and we will have it posted all over the place. If anything, even if you can't get into one of these programs right now, or you have some restrictions with that, definitely follow her social media. It is phenomenal. If anything, it's uplifting and it is inspiring, and we all need a little bit more of that in our lives. So thank you again for coming and visiting with me today and for getting this message out. And until next time, keep kicking ass.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Ladies Kickin Ass podcast. I hope you loved it. Hey, if you got a lot out of today's show and you think a friend of yours may love it too, please do me a really quick favor. Screenshot the episode, post it, tag us at Ladies Kickin Ass, or share the link to the episode. I'm here to help and support as many ladies as I can, and your generosity in sharing the show means the world to me. Don't forget, hit subscribe to be notified of all newly released episodes, and leaving the show a 5-star review is the ultimate expression of love for our team. If you're interested in becoming a guest on the podcast, I would so love to hear from you. Shoot me a DM on Instagram or Facebook and we'll chat further. Thank you for being part of our tribe, and until next time, go kick some ass, lady.